year by the Arch City Defenders found a large part of the revenue for several St. Louis counties comes from fines paid by African-American residents disproportionately targeted for traffic stops and other low-level offenses. In Ferguson, fines and fees were the city's second largest source of income in the fiscal year 2014. Ferguson issued on average nearly 3 warrants per household last year, the highest number of warrants in the state relative to its size. The targeting may have had deadly consequences. According to the new class action lawsuit, 4 area residents unable to buy their freedom have committed suicide in local jails in the past 5 months. Others allege indefinite detention and various denials of due process. The suit claims the debtor's scheme has, quote, devastated the city's poor, trapping them for years in a cycle of increased fees, debts, extortion, and cruel jailings. The plaintiffs want an end to the targeting as well as compensation for its victims. Well, we're joined in St. Louis by 3 guests. Michael John Voss is the managing attorney at Arch City Defenders, which is one of the groups that's filed a lawsuit accusing 2 St. Louis suburbs, Ferguson and Jennings, of creating these illegal debtors' prisons. And we're joined by Allison and Herbert Nelson, Jr., 2 of the plaintiffs in the class action lawsuits. Allison and Herbert are brother and sister. We welcome you all to Democracy Now! Why don't we begin with Michael John Voss. Explain how this system works.
So what we have in St. Louis, in the municipalities in St. Louis County, is a modern debtor's prison. Basically, our study, the white paper that you referred to earlier, showed that individuals who are African American are disproportionately targeted by police in the municipalities, as well as they are also exploited because of their financial inability to pay certain fines and costs related to that traffic stop, that traffic violation. And so what happens is an individual then is forced to pay an exorbitant amount of money relative to the charge that they're facing, and then they are, if they don't have that ability to pay, there are actually no inquiries made as to that ability or not, and warrants issued for their arrest, and then they become incarcerated. It's sometimes for days, for weeks, without any looking into their financial ability to pay, and actually without even having a clear sense of whether or not they have any sort of specific amount that they would be able to pay to get out of jail. And so it's arbitrarily they are being detained in St. Louis County in these municipal jails.
And talk about this lawsuit that you filed, how it was put together and what it's seeking to accomplish.
So the lawsuit that we filed, we're working with an organization called Equal Justice Under Law out of Washington, D.C. and the St. Louis University School of Law Clinics. And basically, by interviewing and talking with many individuals who had gone through these experiences, we were able to take down a number of stories of individuals. And we've then investigated the sort of practices of the courts through Court Watching Project, and then put together this lawsuit. It is a class action lawsuit seeking injunctive relief, an end to these practices, and also seeking damages for the individuals that have suffered under the system.
Michael John Voss, how many suicides have there been in the jails just in the last 5 months?
Well, just in the last 5 months, within the last few years, there's been at least 4 recorded deaths. There's been also attempted suicides that we also have documentation of through news reports. There was a story of a young man, 18 years old, who clearly needed mental health treatment, but none of that was provided to him. And while he was in Jennings Municipal Court Jail, he committed suicide. And so the conditions are deplorable. The conditions that we outlined in the lawsuit show that individuals are not. Sometimes there's 7 to 10 people in a cell, over 12 people in a jail cell that's supposed to house just 8. They're not given enough blankets to keep warm. There's no washing of those blankets. They're not permitted to take showers. I've been, as a lawyer, practicing in the municipal courts for a number of years, and I've been in a hallway in Jennings after they take people out of the confined docket, of which they don't allow any public access to. The inmates are brought down a hallway and down into the jail. I've been waiting in that hallway to speak with a prosecutor, and immediately after all of the individuals that are brought down into the jail file through, a court clerk comes through with a can of aerosol to remove the stench, because nobody's taken a bath because they're not provided a shower for weeks.